Thanks to our viewers tuning back into another CSE listed issuer update. I'm Anil Mall with the CSE, and today we're speaking with Sean Kingsley. Sean Kingsley is the president and CEO of Gold Hunter Resources. The company trades under the symbol HUNT. Sean, I appreciate your time today. I hope you're well.
Always well, Anil. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Sean. We had a chance to catch up during the PDAC conference early March, and now today, and gold is trending a lot higher. It's at, if I'm not mistaken, about $2,300. Sean, I want to start by getting your insight into what is driving this growth.
Fear, for one thing. It's been a long time coming. The gold price and silver price and copper price for that should have been much, much higher very, very fast, very, very sooner. So it's been a long time coming. There's a lot of fear in the markets. There's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of inflation, high interest rates. There's a lot of that going on. But the one thing that always stands true, through time is history repeating itself. And here we are in 2024 going into 2025. Can you imagine, like 20 years ago is like just a new millennial? But there's a lot going into it. I think there are some generalist investors coming into the space, which is always a good sign that, pretty much people are realizing, gold is a safe haven. But really, it's just the metals market. In the last 3 weeks, it's changed overnight. Like 6 months ago, good luck trying to find some risk capital for our junior exploration companies. And now we're looking at, companies raising money, oversubscribing it, increasing their books as well as.
Perfect, Sean. I appreciate you taking the time to give us your insight into that. Let's start and talk about Gold Hunter, which is why we're here today. For our audience members that might not be familiar with the company, could we start with just a brief introduction to the company, what its focus is, and what regions are you guys exploring in?
Okay, so first and foremost, we were a newly listed company not too long ago on the CSE, or FireFly Exchange. We came up with a concept about 2.5 years ago out of Newfoundland, an area called the Beaver Peninsula, which is a very historic area of Newfoundland, one of the first areas in Newfoundland to go into production for commodities. Actually, when we were Canada was a part of the Commonwealth. It was one of the first resource deposits to go into production when we were a part of the Commonwealth. Actually, there's a stamp from the early 1900s of the area, and it was the very first stamp that was mining related. And I forget the words of it, but look it up because it's really cool. It's a historic area. It's always been fragmented over the years. We came up with a concept a couple of years ago to essentially consolidate the area. There's the Ming mine, which at that time was in production. It was being run by Ramblers Metals and Mining, and we have a lot of relations. Our group out in Newfoundland, I've been going out there since 2013. I think it's one of the best jurisdictions in Canada to do work and get work done and put mines into production. And so we came up with a consolidation area. We partnered up with some key prospector individuals that we've known for decades now, and essentially we're like, let's do a deal. They actually brought the concept to us, and we put the legwork together, and it's wait until we go into it, because there's a lot of great checkpoints within the last year alone.
So speaking of working our way backwards, Sean, you came on board at Gold Hunter, I think it was June, towards the end of June as the president CEO. So why don't you walk us through June to 2024 I should say from June to April of 2024. What has the company been up to? Talk to us a little bit about your programs and your progress.
So I came in, yes, you're correct, June 2023. Like I said previously, I've been involved since the beginning of essentially the concept of the company. I introduced the prospectors to the company, and we made a deal. But a year and a half went by, and essentially company didn't do much externally. Internally, a lot of data compilation. Consolidating a large land position, you get a lot of information, but it's all fragmented, so it's all piecemealed, so to speak. So the company did a very large data compilation. Costed about $250,000. First ever, I guess, compilation of regional information, but also all the information from all the different properties, groups, individuals, prospectors, including all the government's information as well too. So that was going on internally. Externally, if you look at the news releases, there wasn't a heck of a lot of news releases. And so externally, from me sitting on the outside, I'm like, guys, what's going on? There's a great opportunity. Unfortunately, when I jumped in June 2023, it was probably the lowest peak for I guess sentiments in the Bayvert Peninsula. Rambler Metals and Mining just went into receivership. They were essentially, their assets were being sold by the courts. And yeah, there was a lot of people in the Bayvert community that were or were employed by the mine that was in operation until receivership. So it was like the lowest of the low, and really nobody knew what was going to happen. Fortunately, when I jumped in as CEO in June, we wanted to drill our property. Like, with all the data compilation, we had so many drill targets that we believed could really bring in some nice drill intersections of high grade copper and gold. And also demonstrates, the expandability of our known, we had we have 3 or 4 deposits on the property, historic pits, so to speak. And so, we wanted to go in there and raise some money and drill. As you know, last year and the previous year, it's been a really tough market and stuff. But, I really believe in the project. So I stepped in as CEO to raise money to have this drilled. A month after I became CEO, Australian company by the name of Oteco Minerals came in and bought the Ming mine out of receivership for, I believe it's $60 million Australian dollars. They raised that money overnight, essentially, to get the deal done. And they launched, they renamed it the Green Bay Deposit. And, their very first news release upon closing of the transaction is, we're not going to put this mine back into production. We're going to expand the known footprint of the deposit. And so right away, our team's like, well, we got to talk to Oteco, which is now called FireFly. They did a bit of a consolidation, and they renamed their company FireFly. And so, since, I guess, July of last year, we started engaging conversations with them, and pretty much that transpired very fast. At least coming into agreement to purchase, because you got to keep in mind, when we consolidated, we completely surrounded their land package, near completely. So we had a very large land package that has a lot of smoke on it, and it's something that would add to their value. Pretty much since then, we've had a lot of developments, or essentially, we're going to go into it, but essentially we ended up selling our land package to FireFly.
There was a private placement that the company had just done with support from someone like Eric Sprott. I wanted to pick your brain a little bit on what caught their attention, because, it's not every day that you see someone like Eric Sprott come into a junior exploration company. Can you maybe give us some insight into that, on what made them supporters of Gold Hunter?
Well, Eric Sprott is a person, not them. But we definitely have a few highlight individuals like Eric as large shareholders of Gold Hunter. It's all about who is a part of the team, and essentially Eric came in from the very beginning, from the concept. As we know, the last handful of years, he's really put a lot of investments into Newfoundland, and part of our group, or he's an insider, so I can mention his name, but Blair Naughty used to be his main mining trader back in Sprott over 20 years ago. And so when Eric kind of pivoted and wanted to start investing into Newfoundland, he reached out to Blair, and he's like, well, keep in mind when Blair was his main mining trader, Eric wasn't dabbling in mining at all. He was, looking for, he's an accountant by trade, so he looks for, the financials where, there's an investment opportunity. One of his big first wins was Bowflex. And, pretty much, so he reached out to Blair, and he's like, Blair, what are you up to? Here's my thesis. I'm going to go pretty heavy into Newfoundland. I think it's an amazing jurisdiction that deserves many more discoveries, and there's a lot of upside potential. And so Blair started bringing ideas to Eric, and so they're still talking weekly and stuff, and it's a big win. But we got a lot of support from our shareholders. When we did a vote to get this deal done with FireFly, it was unanimously voted amongst our shareholders. I talked to almost every single shareholder on the registry, and in a bad market, everyone's like, "This is amazing. You're creating value for all of us as shareholders." So it's good to have people like Eric as shareholders. It definitely helps when you need money, and especially last year. To be honest, that financing that we did, $720,000. I've raised a lot of money in the last 8 to 10 years. I've probably been involved in over $50 to $80 million worth of raising money within the junior exploration world. And raising that $720,000 was probably the hardest experience I've done, at least in the last 5 years. Like, normally you call an investor up and they'll put $50,000 to $100,000 into your financing. Now, during that time, those investors were now writing $10,000 checks, and the question marks on, where is the bottom? The markets are so tough and stuff. But fast forward to the last 3 weeks, like it's been a very nice market now.
Sean, anyone that is part of the industry, like both of us here, know your dedication to this industry and space. For our viewers that might not be familiar, you want to maybe just talk a little bit about your background and how you got to now?
Where do I start? So 2007, that's when I first came into this business, capital markets. My whole career has been focused in mineral exploration and mining. But essentially I came in and I knew nothing about the capital markets. Entrepreneur by heart, which that's why I love the CSE. You all support us entrepreneurs with our ideas and help us guide us along the way to create value for all of our supporters and shareholders. So thank you. But yeah, essentially I didn't really know too much, but I knew in order to survive in these capital markets, you got to be a jack of all trades. You gotta learn and grow and adapt. And especially in the mining industry and mineral exploration, it's such a cyclical market. Every 3 to 5 years there's a shaking of the tree, and essentially, there's strong-willed or strong individuals that can survive in a bad market are always positioned once the good markets come. So I've seen a lot in the last 17 years, and I can't confirm I've really seen or had a proper investment into a bull market, but I think we're coming into those. But yeah.
Perfect, Sean. So with this recent agreement with FireFly Metals, what are some of the milestones our viewers can look for from Gold Hunter Resources, let's say in the next 3 to 6 months?
We're looking for a project. We're looking for a project that we can spend a lot of money to essentially package it up again. A project, our main focus, we love copper, we love gold. We're not chasing after any of those other metals that are hot right now. We wish the best of luck to all our friends doing that. But we believe in the fundamental, copper and gold are always going to be with us. And like I said in the very beginning, I think copper and gold are going to go extremely high in a very short period of time. So we're looking for something. It doesn't have to be in Canada. It could be, elephant country, wherever it makes sense. We have the capabilities both on the technical side, but also to raise money to develop assets. We want to find something that we can fast track into potential production, or at least see that through until we get to a point where somebody sees something attractive and acquires it. But end of the day, we want to create shareholder value. And, with this transaction with FireFly, we've proven that we could do that, and we want to continue to do that.
Sean, this has been very informative. And as we wrap up this conversation, we always encourage our viewers to go to your website, sign up for your newsletter, press releases, do their due diligence, which is the most important, and obviously reach out to you and your team should they have questions and interest. Where would you like to direct our viewers at this time?
Well, obviously, goldhunterresources.com is our website. My personal contact information is there. As you can tell, you barely got some words in, Neil. I love chats. I'm always an open book. Definitely always available to chat. Not just about Gold Hunter, but definitely if you have any interest in Gold Hunter and you want to skip some due diligence, and my advice for all investors is call management. I'm available most of the time. Email me, call me. But definitely we want to create some more shareholder value, and especially with this next 2-3 week window. So if you want to go through that, by all means, give me a call.
Appreciate that, Sean, and obviously appreciate your time and support with the CSE. You mentioned about the getting a few words in. I just want to say our audience is not really here to hear from me. I myself am educating myself, talking to capital markets centers of influence like yourself and others. So I learned a lot myself. And to everybody watching and listening, you were hearing from Sean Kingsley, who is the president and CEO of Gold Hunter Resources. Once again, it's HUNT on the exchange. And Sean, I look forward to hosting you and your team one again, maybe towards the end of summer, where we can talk a little bit more about what the company has in store. And appreciate your time and friendship.
Awesome. Likewise. Thanks, Anil, as always, and thanks to the CSE.